voice of free speech. The truth delivered. Common sense for the American people. Welcome to the Scott Jennings Show.
Okay, it's Wednesday, January the 21st, and the world travels of Scott Jennings continue. We are on the road today in Santa Barbara, California, and we're at the winter meeting of the Republican National Committee. So today we're going to take stock of the health of the Republican Party with top Republican officials. In our second hour today, by the way, we're going to have an exclusive interview with Michele Tafoya, who just launched her campaign for the United States Senate in Minnesota. As always, the Scott Jennings Show is brought to you by Ease Total Health. Health insurance is broken. Ease fixes it with no deductibles, no restrictions on doctors or hospitals, just a set of benefits you can use on day one. If you're upset with your private insurance, and chances are you probably are, visit easeforeveryone.com/Scott to learn more. Ease Total Health, EASE. easeforeveryone.com/Scott. Okay, we're on the road in California today, and our first guest, we're going to have a bunch of people come in today from the Republican Party, which is great. Always good to have in-person guests. Our first guest today took over as chairman of the RNC earlier last year after Michael Whatley, who was the chairman of the Republican National Committee, launched his Senate campaign in North Carolina. The new chairman is a Florida state senator, and he was the treasurer of the Republican National Committee. He's now been elevated. His name is Joe Gruters. Joe, welcome to the Scott Jennings Show.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for having me on, Scott.
Really glad you're here. I want the news of the day. Mr. Chairman, President Trump spoke in Davos earlier, his first year in office. Let's take a look at 5.
In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation. But instead, I've cut, actually, till this point, 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
Republicans all over the country are base Republicans who voted for this president happy with the job that he's done.
No question about it. And the president, Donald J. Trump, has done more in 1 year than most. He's been an absolute machine. He's doing exactly everything he said he was going to do. If you look at the Republican Party platform that we passed, which was his agenda, he's moving the ball forward on every single issue. He's been a champion, and he's our best messenger. He's our best campaigner. And with him leading the party, we're in great shape, and we could have a real opportunity to defy his.
All right, let's learn a little bit about you. You're the new chairman of the Republican National Committee, and you took over for Michael Whatley, who's now running for the Senate. What's your background? Give us a little idea of how you got involved in politics and how you wound up as chairman of the RNC.
Well, listen, I love Michael Whatley, and he set a bar that's so high, but I come from an apolitical family background, and I was a freshman in high school, and my history teacher said, I'll give you 10 bonus points if you go hear Dan Quayle speak. That was in 1992. When I was a freshman in high school, I raised my hand for the points. All of a sudden, I show up at this rally, and I see it's like a football game. And I said, this is pretty exciting. And so I started getting involved in campaigns as a teenage Republican and started walking for candidates. state and running a couple of times when I was in college, unsuccessfully, but it led me to helping a guy named Vern Buchanan, who's my local hometown, and I was about to go to law school, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I'm going to UF law." I got it in a top 20 school. He said, "It's a complete waste of time. Come talk to me about business." And then he told me he wanted to run for Congress. I helped him get it in 2006, and he I go take over as chairman. I said, "Everybody hates the party chairman." He said, "Well, I'm paying your paycheck, so I need you to go do this." And then I've spent almost my entire adult life building the vote register and now protecting the vote. And I say like I said, almost my entire adult life in the minor leagues of the party system. And then I finally got the call when Michael Whatley got the call from the president to promote him to run for U.S. Senate. I got the call from the president asking me if I'd be willing to help him maintain the majority in the midterms. There's so much at stake. And I think what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, just a year and a half ago, I think God saved the president to give him a second chance. And I think he's saving the world now. And I think to play a small part of that and to try to help maintain these full 4 years, working around the clock every single day. We have an absolutely amazing team, the Republican National Committee, and we're going to not stop until we win these midterms.
So a couple of things that come up in a lot of my conversations with Republicans right now. A, what's the party doing to try to attract these voters who love Donald Trump but aren't regular voters in other elections? And you did a moment ago, secure and protect the vote, because obviously, this is one of the top things on the minds of Republican voters out there. Are we having secure elections? On those two questions, what say, Mr. Chairman?
Well, listen, besides being the party chairman for 22 years, my claim to fame, back in 2015, I was the original co-chairman of the Florida the Trump campaign with Susie Wiles, who is my co-chairman. So we have a working relationship. Everything that we do at the RNC, we're the president's political arm. We work them around, every single day. Every decision that we're doing is in coordination with them. And listen, we're doing exactly that. We're supporting the president, everything he needs, not only him but his administration. We're supporting Republican candidates once they're chosen by the voters, and then we're protecting the vote. We have over 134 lawsuits across 30 states. We have a huge one right now in front of the Supreme Court where we're basically, back before 2020, I would say we were more reactive with some of our litigation. Now we're dropping the hammer and going after every single place where we could possibly find a win, where we could, make sure vote access workers and poll watchers, to make sure we're cleaning up the voting rolls, to make sure in the Supreme